Welcome to Exploring A Course in Miracles Shorts, where Robert and I take you into course scribe Helen Schucman's original notebooks and through material that has been restored in the Complete and Annotated Edition of A Course in Miracles. In this episode, we are continuing through the second page of Helen's notebooks, where Helen receives an important teaching about embarrassment. So, Robert, what are we looking at here?
Okay, let me share my screen. She has just been hearing. Go ahead.
So I was just going to say, we're continuing from where we left off, and
Yeah.
that not intended to frighten you is where we
Nothing's been missed.
Yeah.
So that's good. So she's just been hearing a voice that she believes to be Jesus dictating to her principles of miracles. And so now she asks this question, well, would you regard this as a kind of miracle, maybe? And his answer is, you better reread them, the three miracle principles, now. There is nothing special or surprising about this at all. So his focus has been on getting her to actually reread the miracle principles, which is why he threatened that there might be a quiz. And right after talking about that, she goes off onto another focus rather than rereading them. So his response is, you need to reread those and that would answer your question. Then he goes into this comment. The one thing that happened, that was the universal miracle, which was the experiences of, let me go ahead and go on to the next page here. Of intense love you have felt. So he's saying there's this universal miracle, and she's had experiences of it in experiences of intense love that she's had. And it turns out she has had in the preceding summer, this is October, experiences of intense love, mostly while in crowds, of feeling suddenly an intense sense of emotional closeness with everyone there come over her.
And so it's a timeline. Helen and Bill had their Better Way moment in June of 65. The course came through in October of 65. This is October of 65. And then between then, she was having heightened psychic experiences, visions, and that's where she experienced these moments of intense love.
Right. In that whole mix of non-ordinary experiences, she's having these.
And they made her embarrassed.
Well, I think she's embarrassed at them being mentioned. Yeah, there's a whole theme that threads through the early dictation that she's embarrassed about the love that she feels at times.
Okay. Do you want to keep reading?
Yeah. So then he says, apparently she gets embarrassed here, and he says, don't get embarrassed. Things that are true are not embarrassing. Embarrassment is only a form of fear, and actually a particularly dangerous form because it reflects egocentricity. So I find this to be a very interesting teaching. When she's getting embarrassed, like so many of us, she's probably thinking, my embarrassment is a sign of humility. It shows that I care about how people see me. I'm not just this heartless, aggressive person who barrels ahead regardless. And he's saying, hang on. Your experiences of intense love were experiences of the truth. Why be embarrassed about the truth? Then he says, embarrassment, rather than a virtue, rather than humility, is just a form of fear. And in thinking about that, I think that's true. Because whenever you're embarrassed, it's because people are looking at you or you're expecting them to look at you, and you're afraid they'll see something wrong with you. And you're afraid. That's fear. And then he says, not just a form of fear, it's a particularly dangerous form. We think embarrassment's harmless because it reflects egocentricity. So what makes it dangerous is how egocentric it is. And in the Course, the ego is the source of anything dangerous. And you can see how egocentric it is. It's all about, how do I look? How am I being perceived? It's all about me.
Am I
There's
being
no,
judged?
am I being judged? Am I being looked down upon? There's no real concern for anybody else. It's pure self-concern. So he's saying, rather than seeing it as harmless and even virtuous, you need to see it's just fear, it's dangerous, it's egocentric. What an interesting teaching on embarrassment.
It's a fascinating teaching on embarrassment, because you're right. We do tend to associate embarrassment with humility, and Jesus is so clearly tying it to fear and egocentricity. And this foreshadows the Course's later teachings on humility, where he basically says the same thing in a different form. So it's
Right,
coming
it's
here,
very
it's coming
similar.
in here right at the beginning.
Yeah, yeah. There's a whole interesting teaching on humility in the Course, as you know, which we can't get into now, but yeah.
Yeah, and so before we close, because these are shorts, can you just read the last paragraph here?
Sure. So he's just addressed her egocentricity, no, sorry, her embarrassment. And then he says, no, don't think of how Bill will find this fascinating either. I told you to reread them and you did not. So she's in
He's
various
trying
ways.
hard, isn't he?
He's trying so hard. He keeps saying, will you please just reread the principles? And she finds all kinds of excuses not to. Either, hey, is this a miracle? Or, gee, I feel so embarrassed. Or I wonder how Bill will find this. Will he find this fascinating? Jesus keeps pulling her back again and again, calmly, kindly,
Yeah.
but he wants her to reread what he's teaching her.
We can laugh about it now because she fulfilled her function and we have the Course. But I imagine at this early stage, there was a part of Jesus who was like, oy vey, this is going to be long. Well,
Yeah,
speaking of this video has gotten too long to live up to our promise of being shorts. So Robert, thank you so much for this. It is a fascinating journey through Helen's
it
notebooks.
is.
And
Yeah,
for those who want to go deeper into this particular part of Helen's notebooks, encourage you to look at Cameo 2 in the back of the Complete and Annotated Edition. Robert, thank you again, as always. Bye for now.